you film the movie, and then you sell it on DVD to people.
A chalet with a normal bed, some warm water. That's my style.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of Teacher Talk Time. My name is Claire Satchwell, and I'm from South Africa. I can't, every time we start that song, all of us dance behind stage. Hello, Mr. Sailor. How are you doing?
Hey! Doing great. How are you,
Claire? Our guests it's mandatory, but we didn't tell them this time. We need to remember that. It's very important. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Claire?
Well, I've had quite a day. I woke up with monkeys running across my roof, vervet monkeys. So I had to get up. It was really early. I had to get up, close my windows, make sure that they don't come into my house. Mm-hmm. And then 10 minutes later, my electricity went off. So it's now 2 o'clock in South Africa, and I haven't had electricity since 8 o'clock. So it's been an interesting day, very interesting. And of course, it has to happen on this day, on show day.
Today is the...
I'm happy to be here. Awesome. Well, let us get to it. I'm going to introduce one of our guests. Marnus Matthysen, fellow South African. He lives at the coast near Cape Town. I'm sure a lot of people know about that city in South Africa. And he's going to take us through the Quali What segment. All right. He has a very, very interesting story lined up for all of you. So, yeah, Robert, what have you got for us? Who have you got for us?
Today we're speaking with a gentleman by the name of Chris Rush. He's going to be taking us through marketing and branding, the online versus offline.
Okay, super. Awesome stuff. Well, let's get to it. Thank you very much. I'll chat to you later, Robert.
All right, talk to you then.
Okay, awesome. Hello, Marnus. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you, Claire?
Awesome. What's the weather like on that side?
Very sunny. It's getting a little bit colder as we approach winter. But yeah, it's actually, other than that, it's quite sunny. Not a cloud in the air. Yeah, great. Great day for surfing.
Lovely. I was chatting to one of the students in Europe this morning, and we were talking about, she's from Canada. Originally from Europe, and she was chatting about how she had underfloor heating installed. And I said, I've never been in a house with underfloor heating. We don't know about that here. It's very interesting. So, Marnus, please can you give our viewers a little background, provide a little background, who you are, where you're from, about your career, your ESL career?
Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Marnus. I'm from South Africa. I was born and raised in Pretoria, same city as Elon Musk.
There you go.
Yeah, and I was like most of my years I spent in the retail industry, IT industry. Was working as an IT technician, sold IT for referrals, computers, all kinds of things, and later on, I got this really cool opportunity to travel to China, which was offered to me, to work as a foreign teacher in a city called Shenyang. It was in the north of China, near the Korean border, and was teaching there for about 6 months. I had no idea what was the prerequisites or the requirements, and it's the 21st century. We take everything for granted, and we thought that everything is okay. And apparently,
Because your agent sorted everything out for you, right? They
yeah,
got
no,
everything together.
everything was arranged. I just said, well, there's the stuff. Here's my qualifications. Here's my everything that you need. You just get me the visa. I'll pay you money for that. Just get everything sorted because I didn't have the time for that. So, so yeah, and then apparently I've read somewhere like you need a bachelor's degree because I didn't really know. I thought it was like similar here, like here in South Africa. Some companies need it, others don't. I just thought, well, since they got me a visa, everything is fine. It's not really a legal requirement to get a Z visa. Apparently, it was, and I was teaching in China for about 6-7 months until like suddenly people were we had like a WeChat group where we were talking to one another, and everyone just started freaking out on the WeChat group and like say, well, we need to go home and blah 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 blah. And like I was like, what's happening? Like I got a visa, right? I got a Z visa. I'm legally here, so what's the matter? And I called my boss and I said, well, you know what? Here's the situation here. What's happening? Am I legally here? Is everything okay? He says, yes, you're fine. Blah blah blah. I said, well, there's like a whole like argument and bombs are blowing on the group. What's happening? Like he said, well, did the agent forge your bachelor's degree? I'm like, what? Say again, did she forge your bachelor's degree? He said. I said, I don't know. I just gave them all my qualifications and that's it. They got me a Z visa, and next thing I heard, I was on a plane. He said, no, but in order for you to get a Z visa, agents regularly forge people that do not have bachelor's degrees. They forge their bachelor's degree. Apparently, this is a thing in China. I'm like, all right, but this is really scary because theoretically, I'm actually legally in this country. Like, what's going to happen? He says, you're fine because it's not your fault. And, just do your job and, don't say anything. And all right. But I'm not really feeling very comfortable with this whole situation. This is really awkward. And this is really, I hate being on the wrong side of the law.
I'm sure you just wanted to get home at this stage.
Yeah, well, I actually wanted. Yeah, well, as crappy as the whole situation currently in South Africa is, because we have a very high unemployment rate, and there isn't really a lot of jobs available for people. I sort of at the end of the day, I didn't want to go home, and I also don't want to stay there and be on the wrong side. I just want to be legal, and I just want to be a law-abiding citizen. And he said, well, just do your job and stuff like that. And then just like suddenly one morning, someone knocked on my door, and I was opening the door, and I was like, there was like 6 police officers. And I said, all right, okay, well, hi guys. They like, hi, we just want to check something. I said, right, help yourself, come in. I thought they were just like looking for someone or just doing a inspection or something. They said, this one guy said, where's your passport? I'm like, all right, let me get your passport. Do you guys want some coffee? No. I'm like, all right, that could have been a thank you, but anyway, I gave them my passport. They were paging through it, and they checked my ID card and stuff like that with the passport side, see if I'm actually the person. And I thought, well, this is just going to be a draw where they just frequently check people's, see if people are legally there. And they said, you come with us. I'm like, where are we going? He's like, you just come. All right. Can I just quickly have a shower? Because I don't really smell very well. They like, no, you come now. Come with us. I'm like, all right, okay, cool. They didn't handcuff me or anything, because apparently in China, if you, I don't know if it's true, but that's what I heard. Like, if you resist an arrest, they can actually kill you. So I'm like, all right, cool. I followed them, into their vans, and we were sitting there in the vans, and they took us to the police station. To make the long story short, we got detained, and I spent in the Chinese detention center for 5 weeks, where I had no contact with the outside world. My phone was taken away from me. We had no.
Didn't you get your phone call? Like, don't you get a phone call, maybe an email in this situation?
Well, no, we didn't. They confiscated our phones, so we were sitting without phones. My parents were hysterical because like they hear nothing, and they don't know, like, are they gonna keep me there? Are they gonna chop off my head? What are they gonna do? Like you're in China, you're in this really foreign. You're in a foreign country. You don't know what they're gonna do with you. Are they gonna? So the South African embassy only arrived like 2 weeks after we got detained, and told us
Count on
the
them
whole
to be late,
situation.
right?
Yeah, well, told us the whole situation and the whole procedure that they need to do, and they do things by book, and they have to keep us there to finish with their investigation, and blah 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 blah. And then they will obviously take us to our apartments. We can get our stuff, and we can go home. And luckily, that's what happened. So I came home with only the stuff I had, and my friend introduced me, who was actually detained with me. She told me about this whole online teaching community and stuff that was going on. I asked, like, online teaching, is there something like that? She said, well, yeah, well, apparently a lot of people are making a lot of money, and it's really fun, and you have flexible hours. I said, all right, well, let me try this out, and let me do my TIFO certification. I did that. Started. She actually got me into her company.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I want to go back to something before we move on to the online teaching and how to find a job and secure a job. When the South African embassy said, what did they say about how you can avoid this? Because do they encounter this situation regularly? I mean, what tips can you give to other teachers to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Yeah, just be wary of the fact that you need a bachelor's degree to get a legal Z visa. You can work on no other visa. A lot of companies will say, well, we can get you a business visa, or we can get you, well, that's specifically in China. I'm not sure about the other countries, but in China, you can only work on a Z visa, a category Z visa. And in order for you to get a Z visa, you have to have a bachelor's degree. You have to be from a native speaking country. Luckily, they still take South Africans. You have to do a criminal background check, and you have to go for a medical sort of like check where they see if you don't. Yeah. So I don't know. Probably, I think you need to do a COVID test as well. I'm not sure. With a lot of countries,
add that to the basket.
Yeah. So that's the one thing that you need to know.
Marnus, I think I'm echoing there. Could you just check your echoing cancellation? Is that okay? Oh, no, it's good. So I'd like to find out from you, during our conversation, you mentioned something that was so interesting with regards to pay and how you secure or get the payment that you want from companies instead of being underpaid, basically.
Well, first of all, I obviously had to climb the ladder and get some experience. Try to. So I started off with a really decent company that was offering me $15 an hour. They were not asking me any questions about whether I have a degree or not. They were just interested in the fact that I can teach and I have some experience, and they did not ask me anything. And I think if they didn't ask, it's not really necessary to tell them that you don't have a degree or what your qualifications are. So if they don't ask, don't tell them. So rather prove them wrong and then later tell them. Then they will like, oh, okay, well, cool. That's what happened with my current company. So I started off with a company with $12 an hour, which was pretty okay, considering that I only started online teaching. And as I, build up my experience, I, started gaining more, started, looking for more companies to hire me to fill up my schedules. And then later on, I started, putting ultimatums and say, well, listen, all right, so I've been working for you for a year. My rates are increasing with, say, $2. So I will be charging you a little bit more. And a lot of times they're pretty fine with that. And that's exactly what I advise other teachers to do is if you have a lot of experience. I think experience is one of the main things, because obviously that gives you that natural ability to do things naturally. So what I sometimes advise teachers to do, that's usually teachers with experience as well, is I think sometimes the mistake that they make a lot is teachers think because they're not from a native speaking country, or they are not they're not graduates, or they're not highly qualified, that they should be okay to work for a lower rate. I mean, that's, sorry for my French, but I think that's bull. I think you should prove them that you're a good teacher, and not always give them a certain rate and say, well, this is the rate that you're gonna charge them.
Yes.
I personally think that also, don't give them a rate beforehand and say you're not gonna work for less than 15, because
Mm-hmm.
they might want to they might want to pay you $40 an hour, and you only told them $15 an hour. So that's what happened
Exactly.
with
Yeah.
me with the company. I kept my mouth shut regarding money. I said, this is what
There
I'm
you
going to do,
go.
and this is what I can do. Um,
Yeah.
and then later on, they came up with an offer and say, well, we will pay you $40 an hour. And I
There
said, well,
you go. There you go.
bro,
I love that advice. I think that that's
so
very, very valuable for teachers who are perhaps entering the market or are already in the market. Don't sell yourself short. That's very important. Well,
correct.
fantastic, Marnus. Thank you so much for sharing that
Mhm.
story. That was
Yeah,
absolutely incredible. I've never heard of something like that before, and I think that it's very important that we cross our T's and dot our I's before
correct.
you
Yeah,
you make such a big move.
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so
Um,
much.
all right.
All right. So we're going to move into our next segment with Robert and Chris. There you go.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Hello. Hey, Robert. How are you?
Doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome. So, Chris, I understand that you do a lot to help teachers in a way somewhat similar to Marnus's story. Can you tell us a little bit about the training that you offer online?
Yeah. Well, I've been teaching ESL online since 2013, and then in 2017 I joined the team at offtoclass.com. We make lesson materials, and it's a student management platform for online ESL teachers so that they can save time and focus on their students.
Awesome. So, you mentioned, I think you mentioned italki. Can you tell us a little bit about your time with them?
Yeah, so I guess I'll just kind of start a little bit when I first got into online ESL. So I started in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of on a whim. And so I started, like a lot of other teachers, working for online ESL companies.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of other teachers, after a little while, I wasn't happy with my rate of pay. In fact, I was working for a European company, and once the dollar got stronger against the euro, it was like I took a pay cut. And so that was when I first started to think, gosh, I wonder if there's another way that I could do this. I had heard of italki, and for anyone who doesn't know, italki is a marketplace where teachers host their own profiles, and then students can browse the profiles looking for a teacher. I had heard of italki, but everything that I had heard was negative. All the teachers that I knew were saying things like, it's a race to the bottom. The only way to get students is to try to undercut everyone else. And so I stayed away from it for a while until I found one teacher who said, no, that isn't my experience. You know, I'm able to charge $30 an hour, no problem on italki. So I got onto italki, and I immediately noticed what was making teachers successful versus unsuccessful. On italki, it really wasn't about what your qualifications were, what your level of experience was. The teachers that were doing well were not necessarily the ones who were the most qualified or even necessarily the best teachers. The ones who were having success and getting students were ones who were able to speak the right language, to connect with students. And so I took a little bit of marketing knowledge and applied that to italki, and I was able to have success right away. And I think to kind of, if I was going to break it down into what is the single biggest determining factor of success on italki, it's the video, because students looking for teachers look through everyone's video. Everyone has a video on their page, and whether or not that video is good is really going to determine whether you get students or don't get students. So a lot of teachers are uncomfortable making videos. You know, they make the videos about themselves, they talk about their own experience, and they don't talk about the problems that their ideal students are having, or connect those problems to like the bigger goals that the students have. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people who are good at marketing, I notice that they look for a problem that they can fix, and then they present that. They make themselves available.
Yeah, I think one thing that the teachers tend to do is they want to focus on the lessons. So a teacher would be inclined to tell students something like, well, if you are having trouble with your grammar, I can help you do grammar exercises to improve that. But what's really happening is the student is having a problem. And the problem that the student is having is not their grammar. Grammar is an easy problem to solve. There are websites and YouTube videos that can solve that for free. But if a student is looking to pay money to solve a problem, it's a bigger problem than just grammar. So one of the things I try to do when I have a first conversation with students is to see if I can connect this problem that they tell me they're having, grammar, into what is the actual deeper thing that's causing such a problem that they're looking to spend money on it. Because as I said, you know, grammar, you can find grammar for free. So if a student tells me, you know, I have grammar problems, I want to ask them questions. I want to be like, okay, well, what are the circumstances where you feel this problem? Well, we have meetings at work, and when it's my turn to present at this meeting that we have every week, I feel like I might be making more mistakes than all my other colleagues who have a higher level of English than me. And then you ask another question. Oh, okay, well, what does that feel like? And then they're like, actually, you know, it really makes me feel terrible. I feel really embarrassed. I feel stupid. Like I feel like other people are looking at me like I'm not as smart as I really am. Now, there's a huge difference between I feel stupid, people look at me like I'm not smart, and I struggle with grammar. Students just going to tell you I struggle with grammar, but if you ask the right questions, then you can get to this actual really deep thing that's motivating the student enough to say, I need to pay money to solve this problem, because grammar is a free problem, but feeling stupid is not a free problem. And then you just do the opposite. You say, okay, well, what are your goals? And when the student says, well, I want to get a higher level of grammar, you do the same thing. You connect that to what's the real thing. What happens if they get a higher level of grammar? Oh, well, if I get a higher level of grammar, then my bosses will be able to see me for the talent that I have, and I'm going to be able to get a promotion. So now you're looking at it like the student has a huge problem, and not only is it making them feel bad, but it's holding them back from getting a promotion and having success at work. So when you can frame the problem, and that's what the problem really is, when you can frame it like that, then you're able to position yourself as being someone who can help them with you're not just helping them with their English, you're helping them unlock the skills that they need to get a higher paying job. And so if you're able to kind of do that, and it takes a little bit of marketing. And the other thing it takes, especially when you're having this conversation with the student, is it really is a sales process. And a lot of teachers hear that and they go, because a lot of teachers really don't like the idea of sales. But there's a way to do it authentically, and there's a way to do it that is in the best interests of your student. Like if any teacher is selling snake oil, you shouldn't be teaching, right? If you're a shyster, then you should not be in this profession, right? Teachers are people usually who want to help others. And so if you can use some of these skills in an authentic way to help you earn more income as a teacher, but also to help you assist your students in the best way. So those were the kinds of things that I applied to italki. And then I found that there was a whole other segment of students who are not looking to get lessons as cheaply as possible. They're just looking for the best teacher. They filter out all of the teachers who are undercutting, and they're only looking for the best teachers. And that's how I was able to do a lot better on italki.
Excellent. Yeah, it sounds like there's a little bit of psychology, because you have to connect with them, as you mentioned, and you're solving a problem that isn't just brass taxes. It's a problem up here.
Yeah, and I think, you talk about psychology. I think that people have reactions to the term sales. People have a reaction to the term marketing. And the way that I look at sales and marketing, I hate to lump them together, but what I'm about to say, I think, makes sense. It's just about how to communicate the way that you can help a student in the most clear way possible. So that's what sales and marketing does for me. Sales and marketing means to me just a way that I can most effectively communicate to a potential student or to a stranger who doesn't know me and sees me for the first time, how I'm able to help them. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the background. And then in 2017, I joined. So I think a big part of this, the other part of it, is having a full load of students, managing time. I started out as a customer of Off to Class and using their lesson materials with my own students, because the more students you get, especially if you're not working for a company. If you're working for a company, they often just give you materials. But if you're independent, the biggest crush on your time becomes, I don't know how to plan all these lessons individually. So I started using Off to Class. I started using their lesson materials. It allowed me to manage a growing amount of students without growing the time that I was spending planning the lessons. And then when they started expanding, then I joined the team, and I've been with them ever since.
Awesome. So you mentioned trial videos. Oh, where do you go?
I think our guest has disappeared. Oh. It's an occupational hazard, right? Oh, there's Chris.
I don't know what happened. I was gone and now I'm back.
Woo! Excellent. It's the return of the king. So Chris, you mentioned before trial videos. Briefly you mentioned it. Can you tell us what's in a good trial video?
Okay, so I just want to distinguish. So there's a video that a student will look at to choose a teacher, and then a trial lesson, which is going to be the conversation you have with that potential student at probably a reduced rate to see if the student wants to get more lessons. So you're talking about the video, not the trial lesson. Is that correct?
Can we cover both?
Yeah, so okay, so I'll start with the video. I said a little bit about the trial lesson. I just didn't say it, but the trial lesson is where you have that conversation with the student about what their real problems are and what their higher goals are. To go into the video a little bit, yeah. So if you're a teacher, there are certain other skills that you are probably going to be better at than members of the general population. Video making and editing is not one of those skills. I think if you're a teacher, suddenly the idea of sitting in front of a camera, recording yourself, and then taking that recording and dressing it up with some light edits, that can seem like a daunting task. And so on a place like Italki, students are choosing teachers based on their videos, and the student is going to look through dozens or maybe even hundreds of these teacher videos to kind of choose. And so the teachers that do this well are the ones who are able to have success. So there's a couple of things. The first thing is there's a couple of environmental things that are really small tweaks that make a huge difference. So I don't, for other teachers, if there's any independent teachers who are watching this, I highly recommend video. Video content is the most engaging content. It's so much more engaging than anything you could write. So if you are an independent online teacher, I would highly encourage you to get comfortable making video. As every year that passes, video on the internet becomes just a stronger and stronger presence. You see more and more video on your Facebook feeds. You know, YouTube continues to just get more and more people on it. So I definitely just want to say, if you're interested in being independent online ESL, start to get comfortable in front of the camera. So just kind of like these first big picture things, you have to look at the camera, right? So many teachers have a little script that they read, and the script is like on their computer screen, and that computer screen that they're reading from, it might only be a couple of inches below the camera. But then you see where my eye, like if you look at me right now, you can tell I'm not looking at the camera. And it makes it really hard because you're looking on your screen and you're trying to engage with a person, and the person looks like you're looking away, and it can be really distracting. The other thing that I find with teachers is that because they dread making the video, they treat it like something that they just want to get over with. So they sit down and they're thinking really hard about what they're going to say. And when they have their thinking face, and they just look terribly uncomfortable, and that puts out a terrible vibe for the video. It makes it so that that comes across. So I just encourage teachers, look, you've got to kind of get over it. It's not easy. Everybody is self-conscious. It might take 10 takes before you get one that you're happy with. It might take 10 takes before you finally relax. But if that's the case, like, do your 10 takes. And then I think the other big part of it is what a teacher says. Teachers often say, well, this is my video that's going to go on my profile. So I should talk about myself. And they get on the camera and they say, I've been teaching this many years. I have this certification. I like to go on walks on the beach at sunset. I. And these potential students, they're not interested in that, right? Not at the beginning. Your students will want to get to know you, but what they're looking for when they first discover you is, do you understand my problem? And can you help me? So the teachers who are making better videos are the ones that are being very clear with who their ideal students are, saying, hi, I work with upper intermediate and advanced business professionals who need to improve their English at work. Everyone else, fine, can go find another teacher, but it's the teachers who are solving specific problems who are able to charge higher rates. So those people who are in your audience, when they hear that, they're going to start paying attention. And then you just, instead of saying the things that most teachers say in their online videos, which are, I hear all the time, we can talk about whatever you want. That communicates to students, I actually don't really have a plan. Or the other thing is that teachers say, I'm a language learner too, so I understand. Every language teacher is also a language learner. Everybody says it. That doesn't give you a point. So it's hard to sit down and come up with a script and think about, what am I going to say? But the way to approach it is to say, what are the problems that your real students have? Not the problems, I struggle with grammar. Go deeper. Go, what are the real issues that your students are facing? The ones that make them feel bad enough to pay to solve a problem. If you don't know what those problems are, ask them, and then connect those problems to their goals. So talk about what your potential students could do, not with English. You're not selling them English lessons. You're offering them an opportunity at better things that they can obtain in their life, that they can unlock with better English that are closed off to them now. So there's a lot to unpack there. Like, that's really general, but that's probably the best way that I can condense a lot of stuff into a small amount of time.
Absolutely. That was really amazing, Chris. That very well said. No matter who it is, you, Chris, have a lot to offer when you teach students, and you, the viewer, have a lot to offer as an individual. We're all good at some things, and we can all talk shop about a lot of things. And I think you did an amazing job of pointing that out.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Claire, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I don't have monkeys on my roof. I don't have electricity yet, but otherwise I'm doing well. Wow, so valuable. Let's bring on Marnus again. Guys, that was awesome. I've never heard stories like that from Marnus. And Chris, I feel like if I had to go apply at italki, 20 students in one day, no problem. Really, that was so valuable.
It's a process, but definitely success is possible.
Absolutely. And I think also a lot of the teachers that are entering the market, they underestimate their potential. So I've experienced that with videos. Oh, goodness. Videos, not my thing, but you get used to it. And the only way that you're going to grow is if you get uncomfortable. I really believe that. Awesome. Well, thank you to both of you for being here. I really appreciate it. Robert, was that not amazing?
It really was. That was awesome.
I'm so stoked. Wonderful. Well, let us say thank you to our sponsors, our weekly sponsor. We really appreciate it. The Teaching Revolution. Alrighty. And I would like to encourage all of our viewers to follow us on Facebook, hit the like button, and we go live every week on Wednesdays, New York time. Don't get confused with the EST and the EDT. It's New York time. All right. And we're going to definitely have another season with lots of new guests. And if our audience would like to get in touch with us and they'd like to be one of our guests, please let us know, and we'll definitely consider you and take you through the process, as well as if you'd like to mention who you'd like to see as a guest or a returning guest. All right. Awesome. MJ saying some British teachers. We have a treat for you next week. We have an amazing British teacher, Mr. Andrew Smith, and he's going to be touching on business English. So that's something to look forward to. Awesome, Robert. Thank you for being here with me. I know that you're a very busy gentleman.
Thank you for having me, Claire. I am indeed a busy gentleman. Thank you for having me, Claire.
Careful. If you say that you're a busy lady, that means something else.
Oh, no.
Awesome, my friend. I'm going to love and leave you. I'll see you soon, Robert. Cheers, guys. Bye.